So you guys, you're both so incredible in this movie. I absolutely loved it. We do delve into their family a little bit in this film, which I absolutely love. So let's have a little family time. What do you think the brothers are watching on family movie night?
Ooh,
Ooh, that is a
Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I bet they're big Karate Kid
I
fans.
bet you they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What
They
else?
might be, yeah, they might be watching Jurassic things.
Yeah,
They could be
Jurassic.
doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, episodes
Uh,
of It's Always
They're
Sunny
watching
in
It's Always Sunny in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, I like this. Okay, what's on the playlist? Because there's some great
Uh,
music in this, some great throwbacks.
Yeah.
Really great not only music that's sentimental from the game, but also some really great needle drop moments. We have some awesome soundtrack.
They got
Really
some
great
80s
soundtrack.
tunes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
they
so
got-
what are you adding to the playlist? What do the guys have on their Walkman?
Well, it would have to all be sentimental music from the era that I played Super Mario Bros., which was like the late 80s. So I'm going to be getting some White Snake on there.
I think Luigi's listening to a lot of self-help tapes, you know,
Oh,
just trying to like,
that's
you
good.
know, just
That's good.
just trying to like, you know, meditate and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, who's the favorite child?
I think Luigi.
I think Luigi. I think he's a little bit like more gonna do what mom and dad want,
Yeah.
and
He's
Mario's
the pleaser.
Mario's gonna take some risks, and then Luigi's gotta, you know, be like, Mario, we gotta do that. It's gonna, it's
yeah.
gonna bug mom and dad, and Mario's gonna do it anyway. And then it's like, you know, this is crazy, man. You can't be doing that. But that's Mario.
Okay, and last one, you have this dream of being plumbers. We love the commercial. Who's the better plumber for real? Maybe on the surface level, it's Mario, but who for real is the better plumber between the two of you?
We've talked a little bit about this, and we've determined that it's probably Charlie.
Weirdly, I'm okay with like a plumbing situation, but
Yeah.
don't ask me for any kind of carpentry or construction. I'm terrible at it. But if something's like leaking or running, I'm like, my brain knows how to fix that.
Yeah.
It
I
knows how
clog
to-
the toilets. He
Plugs
he
it right up.
he
Yeah.
fixes them.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's a good partnership.
So this film, what it did for me, it's such a great film, but there's so many worlds you could explore in the what you called, Chris, in our last conversation, the Mario cinematic universe. So
Yes.
two favorites are Wario and Waluigi, and I'm wondering
Yes.
who the two of you would cast, and would you want to team up against those two in a future iteration?
Oh my gosh, who would we cast? Probably ourselves to do both voices, right?
I mean, you know, if we're smart, we're gonna cast ourselves. If we're being generous,
Yes.
I think we're gonna cast you know, Danny DeVito and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
You
That's
know,
really good.
Really
yeah.
nice. I
Really
like how
good,
you pulled
yeah.
that one out.
Maybe we're gonna think outside the box here. We're gonna throw Meryl Streep in there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, she can do it all.
She can.
She can do it all.
She'll probably wouldn't be nominated for an Oscar for it too.
Yeah, she
She probably will.
and she would win and she would
probably
deserve it.
will.
So now that you've had some time to spend together, I know you were in London, you've had time to actually bro out because I know you voice record on your own. But Chris, what makes Charlie the perfect Luigi? And Charlie, what makes Chris the perfect Mario?
I would say he's got a tone and an energy in his voice that just alone without any affectations is in itself really great for Luigi. You know, I think he played the video game as a youngster and his sister was always Mario. So he was always forced to be Luigi. So he was like, you know, she was kind of Mr. Miyagiing him a little bit. He didn't know at the time, but she was training him for this. And so that's why he's the perfect Luigi.
Yeah, and like, listen, this guy here, and he's done it time and time again, can carry a movie, which not everyone can do. So, you know, you can put him in the Lego movie or Guardians of the Galaxy, or these other big franchises, Jurassic, whatever it is, and you keep churning out great movie after great movie. So if you're gonna want to put an iconic character like Mario in someone's hands, you want to put it in someone's hands that you know can execute a big fantastic hit movie, and I think he did it. So super proud of this guy and work with him any day.
That was such brotherly love. That was like bro
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah,
Like-
go ahead and cry, man. Go ahead and cry it out. You know, go ahead and cry.
I love you.
It's all right. I keep an onion in my pocket so he cries like every. You know,
That's very
You two are awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And by the way, Keegan told me that Toad is in love with Peach. So watch out, Mario, in the next film.
Oh, dang. Okay. That sounds like something he would say.
Meow. Ah! You got the cat box! Oh my. I'm sorry. Okay. Now you die.
First of all, I was looking for something that you had said online, and I found a picture of you from 2016. You dressed up as Mario for Halloween.
I did actually.
Were
Yeah.
were you miscast, Seth?
That was me trying to get the role. It was lost. Clearly, they didn't. Chris Meledandri missed that one.
No, but for real, why do you think you were better cast as Donkey Kong in this film? Because you were phenomenal.
I'm not a role model like Mario is, That's too much pressure, I think, for me. I think more of a maybe, yeah, someone who's more in a moral gray area suits me a little better. That's firmly where Donkey Kong lies.
Well, he does, because he's been seen as a hero and as a villain. We can call him an anti-hero, but in this film especially, he's very famous, in his world, and he's really feeling himself. So how did you channel the anti-hero, I'm super famous, I love myself energy? Because that seems like the opposite of you.
It wasn't that hard. Living it every day. I rolled out of bed. That's how. Yeah, it was. It wasn't that hard. It was pretty funny. Honestly, mostly what I thought would be funny was if he hated Mario. Like, that to me was the big. Was like, I just wanted a joke. I'm always just looking for, like, what is the joke in a scene to scene basis? Like, what is something you can play, like a dynamic that can, like, live on throughout the course of a movie that the audience understands the setup and the parameters of it. And this idea that Donkey Kong is kind of this kind of cocky guy who really just wants his father's attention and has to, like, team up with this idiot that he hates in order to get it, that to me was a funny dynamic. Yeah.
Well, he does want his dad's attention. His dad kind of just tells him what to do. And he's played by Fred Armisen. You talked about it a little bit the last time I talked to you. We talked about that energy. Like, how does Kong feel about that? And how do you feel about that? I mean, Fred Armisen's telling you what to do.
No one wants that. Of all the people you don't want to tell you what to do, Fred Armisen is high on the list. It's a good, I think it's funny that there are all these Kong figures, and it is, as from a writing standpoint, it's very clever how they found a way to kind of create an intuitive narrative using these things from a video game that, like, there was like a suggested story there, but there was not a lot there to start with,
It is pretty brilliant what they did. I know it's actually interesting because I actually also found out, searching the internet, your dog is named Zelda. Mm-hmm. And you actually did say when you were younger and you were playing the games, you really did want to be in this world. So what would you see as a gamer, as somebody who's a fan, a future Nintendo movie? What do you think you'd like to see? I mean, is it obvious? Is it Zelda, or is there somebody else that you'd like to see their film get on, put on screen as a writer too? Zelda
would be maybe. I'm not the person to bring that to life, I think. I think a Metroid movie would be cool. I always liked that game, and I always thought that was a cool character.
I love it. If you can talk a little, I mean, fans have been anticipating the showdown, and they've showed a little bit of it in the trailer, the showdown between Donkey Kong and Mario. So if you can, without spoilers, sort of break down, watching it back after lending your voice to it and sort of your impression, because it's such an epic scene. It's actually my favorite scene in the movie.
It was really cool, and I remember seeing like a very early animatic of kind of the introduction of the character, and being instantly so excited that they were like just delivering, on everything I think you would hope a Donkey Kong's fight with Mario would possibly have. And I think there's a lot of, like, again, it's one of those things where, like, you don't want the audience's kind of like projected version of it to be better than the thing that you were giving them in the movie. And I think that's what this movie does very well, is actually like deliver better than you expected versions of these kind of settings and these sequences and these set pieces,
Keegan told me Toad is actually secretly in love with Peach. We know Mario probably is. Is Kong also in love with Peach? Is everybody just in love with Peach?
Kong's in love with himself.
Bowser is coming. Together, we are going to stop that monster.
How? Look at us. We're adorable.
Hi, you look amazing as always. And actually, my very first question for you is about fashion.
Okay.
You are a fashion icon. Every time you step out on a carpet, people go crazy. I want you to break down Peach's style for us. Is she a style icon?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. And I think that if you asked anybody on the street, they would say the same thing. I do have a personal penchant for the motorcycle outfit. It's so good. And I do think that that anvil is required. That's you need the axe. You need the axe with it. It completes the outfit.
So all the outfits that we see in this film, is that the one that you're wearing in real life if we're doing like a live action on the street version?
That is 1,000% my favorite outfit, for sure.
So I wanted to talk to you about just this version of Peach that we see in this film. This is only the second time she has a fire flower, which is very symbolic of her power and her skills in this film. And I wanted to know, because I know you have Mad Max coming up, is she channeling Furiosa or is Furiosa channeling Peach? And can you compare their fighting styles?
Honestly, it's the weirdest thing. I never thought that the two characters in my career that had like a lot in common would be Furiosa and Princess Peach. So that's like quite surreal for me. And funnily enough, I was working on both of them at the same time because I did a lot of voice work in Australia. Yeah, compare their fighting styles. I think Furiosa is more dogged in the sense that she's just like straight in, full force, like go for it. Peach is, I think she adds a bit more flourishes to what she's doing. She likes a flip. She likes to make it look attractive. Does our Peach?
She does a very good job. I love her power.
Very elegant.
She is very elegant. It's funny that you were doing the voice recording. Like, I wonder if Peach sort of bled into Furiosa, like when you would go on set, if you had to like change the voice up and be like, oh my gosh, what am I, I want to talk about, there's a line in the film that you say that I think is my favorite line in the film. And there's a huge universe out there with a lot of galaxies, and it gets everybody, of course, excited about what could be the future. I think people would be very excited to see if Super Mario Galaxy, as the fact that you're now an aficionado, which world would you like to see explored in a future movie? And which world would you like to see Peach in?
Ooh. I think I'd love to go underwater. I think that would be super fun. Like, I'd love to see how that's animated. I think they've done such a beautiful job of creating paintings out of every frame in this movie. Like, it's genuinely just beautiful. It's the most beautiful animated movie I've ever seen. So I'd love to see how those characters are drawn in water. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe there's like a Mario Sunshine universe where they're on an island.
No, I'm thinking about specifically Mario Kart. The name's escaping me right now, but like the track is both underwater and you kind of like go all around. Yeah, it's really cool.
You just got me very excited for that. I did not know. I did not know about that one. So argue your side of the story. So Bowser has a really cool crib. He has the airship. Peach has her castle. Who has the cooler crib and why?
Ooh. I feel like I'm cheating if I don't say Peach, but I would say that it would be fun to like have your house move around with you. That's pretty great. That's like a good thing for like turtles and tortoises. It's kind of cool that your home just goes with you wherever you go. But I mean, Peach's castle has the toads. And how can you pass out living amongst like such a cute little population?
They are
They're
so
adorable.
And I know you wanted to take on this role because this is a different version of Peach. So what can you tease for fans that are so excited to see about her? What do you think people are going to be surprised about? And what sort of surprised you about playing her?
I think I was surprised at how inspiring I found a character that I voiced. It has nothing to do with my voice. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's the character itself. She's so tough, so compassionate, so kind, so on top of everything. And she's determined. It comes from a place of love, like true love towards her people, but she's just not going to let anything happen to them by any means. And I think that determination is really inspiring.
My army! Koopas! Goombas! Whatever those things are! Aww. We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
I think I've interviewed you like 8 or 10 times, and every time you either do a hidden talent, you do an impression, you sing, you do something. So I'm just going to put it out there. Hit me with your best shot, Jack. Fire away. What do you got today?
Have you ever seen this? I could do it all day.
Can you do it the reverse way?
No. You know, I think you know all my hidden skills. They're not so hidden.
Do you have
Fa
an
la
ear?
la 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 la. That's my warm up.
Was that your warm up for Bowser? Because there's a lot of music in this film. I love that you went back to your heavy metal roots.
Yes.
Every time Bowser's on screen, we get some metal. Talk to me about that.
Well, there's an obvious connection between Bowser and heavy metal. He's a fire-breathing dragon. Gene Simmons comes to mind of Kiss. And all of the imagery of Bowser and his ship that's, like made of lava and fire and stone-carved gargoyle faces. It's very heavy metal. It's very Metallica. And I was really thrilled to see that they embraced that fully and that they put some heavy metal into the movie. When you see Bowser, occasionally there'd be a little blast of hard rock.
I love it. What do you think's on Bowser's playlist?
Bowser definitely got some Metallica on there.
Yeah.
He's also definitely got a little Slayer. But he's also got a sensitive side, so there's probably some power ballads on there, maybe a little Scorpions, maybe a little bit of who's some of the softer ones that really could. Ronnie James Dio. I always got to talk about Ronnie James Dio. He's my childhood hero, greatest singer in the history of rock and roll. Also, a little Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. You got to have some Ozzy on that playlist. And
You basically
maybe a
giving
little
me the whole-
Foreigner. I'm gonna mix it up with a little Foreigner.
Oh yeah, I love a little Foreigner. I know you're a gamer.
Hot-blooded.
You're obviously you know a lot about this world. What would you like to see in a future installment? I wonder if we're getting a Bowser Jr. and if you think you could play Bowser Jr. He's got a higher intonation in his voice.
Bowser Jr. Wow, I can't imagine that I would play a son of Bowser. But you never know. Never say never. I could.
could.
They could pitch shift my voice in post, right?
Yeah.
But what's the future? Gosh, that's a question for the writers. I don't know how this story could twist and turn. But I'm down to clown any which way they go. It was so much fun on this experience.
Was there, speaking of we were talking about your airship for a little bit. Who do you think has the better crib? Do you think Princess Peach has the better crib with her castle, or do you think the airship's cooler?
I mean, look, the airship is cooler if you're a heavy metal fan. I guess it's a question of taste.
True.
The castle is also pretty impressive, but there's nothing can beat my craft. My craft just comes flying through space. Definitely a warship for the ages.
I'm wondering because whenever we saw him in the game, whenever we see
It's really
him,
like comparing apples and peaches. There's apples and oranges. What would it be? It would be peaches and like some kind of devil fruit, dragon fruit. It's like comparing dragon fruit and peaches. They're two totally different fruits.
yours is prickly,
Mine is prickly and delicious.
like your body in the film. This is
Oh,
perfection,
thank you. It's
Jack.
getting a little personal. Next
Speaking of-
question.
Speaking of personal, what do you think
Prickly like your
Bowser's
body.
doing
In the film.
in the Of course, didn't mean you at all. You're a warm, fuzzy person.
Thank you.
In the film, like whenever we see Bowser, he's always like ready to fight. What do you think Bowser's doing behind the scenes to get ready for battle? What is he doing in private?
Well, Bowser spends a lot of time in the weight room, obviously. He's a gym rat. He works the pecs. He does a lot of push-ups, but he likes to do granny push-ups. And he does a lot of core work. He works
right.
Interestingly, he does a lot of Pilates. Spends a lot of time on the Cadillac. And just spends a lot of time just fire breathing, just for practice.
He does, doesn't he? But I love that
Yeah.
softer side that we do see of him. So I'm just wondering if he was to have a movie night and invite all the Koopas over, what's he playing for everybody? What kind of movies do you think he's watching?
Weirdly, his favorite movie is You've Got Mail. It's a rom-com with Tom Hanks. Yeah, he's a softie when it comes to cinema. He does like those love stories.
He has refined taste. I like it. If you could perhaps compare Bowser in the game to the Bowser we're going to see in the film, yeah, if you could sort of like dive into that a little bit.
He also loves When Harry Met Sally.
You were
He
done
loves
with
that scene. I'll have what she's having. Sorry, what was the next question?
No, I like where you're going with that. Which one is Bowser playing, the Harry or the Sally in that
Well,
scene?
obviously he's the Harry. He's the Harry.
Oh, I wanted him to be the
but-
Sally.
But what was that other question? I got sidetracked by the rom-coms.
Your game, how he compares to the games in the film, and what was your favorite Nintendo game growing up?
My favorite Nintendo game, I was there at the very beginning for Donkey Kong when that came out in the early 80s. I was playing video games, and I was into it and I loved it. I was obsessed with it. I played it every day after school for years. But how does Bowser compare to the Bowser in the video games? I mean, in most of the video games featuring Bowser, he doesn't say anything. He's just grunts and groans. I mean, we got a fully fleshed character here. He's got all these insecurities and sensitivities and a romantic side, and he's fully what you'd expect. He's evil. He'll lie, cheat, and steal, and he's greedy, and he's jealous. Had lots of tons of great character stuff to play.
Can we go out with an ear wiggle or an eyebrow raise?
Yep.
You remain my
That's all I
favorite,
got.
Jack.
I gave you the full arsenal.
You gave me everything you got. You hit me with your best shot. I appreciate it. And I love the t-shirt.
Hit you with my best shot.
Excuse me, everybody, coming through! This guy's brother is going to die imminently! Out of the way, please!
Just trying to clear a path. That's all I'm doing. He's gonna be fine.
Now that I've seen this movie, I told you before that Toad was adorable, and now I think he's extra adorable. I was smiling from ear to ear every time he was on camera. Now, he does find a way to get himself into every situation, right? Like he's sort of, I wouldn't say the third wheel, but he finds a way into all the action around Princess Peach a lot. So settle the score for me. Is he secretly in love with Princess Peach?
100%.
Yes.
100%. Yes. But now he has actually kind of split allegiances. It's really he's very ambivalent now. It's tearing him up inside because he loves Mario so much. He wants to bro out with Mario so much, but he's holding a torch for Peach at the exact same time. So there's a lot going on emotionally for Toad.
That's a lot for you to, take on as an actor.
Yes,
I mean,
I know.
thought maybe he was going to hold out for Toadette, but perhaps not.
No. I mean, he's not. I'm telling you here, this is the scoop, is that he's in love with Princess Peach.
Is he going to end up with her, do you think?
You know what? Listen, if I have anything to do with writing the next movie, that's exactly what's going to happen. So you'll see. We'll see.
Okay. I love that. I love that.
I mean, I won't, but.
No, but I think you should. I think this is a great avenue to go down.
Yeah.
What I loved is when I was listening to your version of Toad, you more than anybody else in the cast, I'm like, Keegan was improvising for sure, because there was like a looseness about the character. Is that true? Or do you just make lines sound so free like they were improv? Or was there?
There was some improv. There was not as much as there's not as much. I think there's not as much as you think there was, but there was. I think sometimes what happens is when you get to improvise lines, when you start to improvise and improvise and improvise, and then you go into the regular line, that naturalness stays there, and so that's kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Nikki, what I'm saying? Yeah, so
Yeah.
then that naturalness, you get to hear that naturalness into the regular line. I'm trying to, and then there are other lines, to be quite honest with you, I don't remember if they were dialogue or if I improvised them. Because it's really very well written. I think Toad's very well written. And so there are times where the lines just, they felt good in your mouth. And so they come out naturally. And I'm trying to think, even in the trailer, when I say, okay. When Donkey Kong is beating up Mario, I can't remember if that's an extra line or if that was in the dialogue. It's a very interesting question.
Or if they take it, from another piece of what you were doing and are like, let's throw it into that scene.
Yeah, and sometimes, sometimes they do that. They're brilliant. They're marvels at this kind of stuff, the editors.
It is so good. This film is so darn good. It's going to explode. People are going to love it. The last time we talked, you showed me how you got the Toad voice, how you were going
Yes.
higher and higher and higher. Once you had the voice, I want to go a step further. Were you walking around the house in the Toad voice? Were you singing in the Toad voice? And did you play other Mario characters in your preparation for fun?
No, no. I tried to stick with exclusively with Toad.
Okay.
So that any sounds that Toad would make, because I still wanted to kind of reference any of the sounds that he's emitted throughout the years that we've heard him doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wanted to make sure that was still intact. That at least so that we're honoring the character. But for me, most of the reason to stay in the voice was, just pretend I'm sucking on helium. Just pretend I'm sucking on helium and wearing tight pants all the time. So
That'll do it. That'll make your voice go up an octave.
that'll keep you up there.
So I read that you were a huge Donkey Kong fan growing up.
Love Donkey Kong. That was my game. That was my favorite video game as a kid. And I used to go to the arcade and play that game. I only played 2 games. I played Dig Dug and Donkey Kong. Those were my 2 games. And then when we got a console at home, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to play Donkey Kong all the time. My poor television was like, bro, you're killing me. What are you doing? What are you doing? You got to stop. But I would just keep playing and playing and playing. I loved Donkey Kong.
I loved Donkey Kong too.
Yeah.
It was my favorite game. I loved it so much. So let's go back to that. If you were going to write a future, Chris has sort of set up that this is the beginning of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. What Nintendo game would you like to see in a future film?
You know who would be interesting? I think it would be interesting if we opened up like the Kirby world.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? I just like when Kirby goes and sucks people into people into him to get abilities. Like, what would the reason? That's one thing I like, is that you get to start to justify why behaviors happen in the universe or happen in the world. Like, what is the reason that he sucks like people and like things into him? Like, and is he from a whole world of Kirby's? Like, it's that question mark comes up to my head in a big old block that you can punch that coins will come out of.
I think you could play. I mean, this is the thing. You don't sound like you in this film. You
Right.
could voice other characters.
That's right. I could. Hey, listen, whatever they would like me to do, I'm game.
You're down for it.
I am.
Okay,
down
you
for
might
it.
get this question a lot,
Mhm.
but I'm going to ask it. If Key and Peele were dropped into the Mario universe, into the Mushroom Kingdom, what would a sketch possibly look like between the two of them?
What would a sketch possibly look like? I think what it would probably be, it might be, because one of our expertise on Key and Peele is doing name sketches, sketches with names in it, is to think of all of the different names of people, and we do this a little bit in the movie, the different names of mushrooms. You know what I mean? Like what you would name the different mushrooms. What's going on, Chantarelle? How you doing, Morel? You good? Okay, good to see you. Where's Hen of the Woods at? With my boy, and then they're like a rapper. Who would be a rapper in the Mushroom Kingdom? King Oyster. You know what I'm talking about?
I know.
You
what
just
you're
name
talking
all the
about.
different mushrooms, and see how you could figure out, like, is there a band where all the members of the band are a mushroom, something like that. I got to think about that.
What do you think is on Toad's playlist?
What is on Toad's playlist? Lots of psychedelic music. It has to be. I mean, what are we talking about? If you eat a mushroom and it makes you bigger, what kind of mushrooms are we talking about, right? You know what I mean? So lots of Jefferson Starship, Jimi Hendrix, you know what I mean? Strawberry Alarm Clock, Iron Butterfly, good psychedelic music.
I love this so much. I love the direction that we're going with all this. If you can, without spoilers, you do kind of bro out a little bit with Mario in this film. Can you talk about maybe a scene, sort of break down, maybe watching it back as a fan, your sort of favorite moment for Toad in this film?
Well, I think one of my favorite moments for Toad is the very first moment that he experiences Mario, because you see how up for showing him his world he is. The other thing we have to remember is the very first thing Toad does is protect Mario. The very first thing he does. So it's foreshadowing for the rest of the movie about how he feels about Mario, is that he tells him not to eat that mushroom. and that it'll harm him or that he'll die. And so it shows you what kind of being Toad is, that he cares, you know. And when I watch that back, I think about that and I go, oh my God, I never thought of that before. But look at how much he cares, because I'm so in the performance of it. I was so shocked, you know what I mean? Like, you know, don't get away from that mushroom. But when you think back, I go, he's a hero, you know. He's made of good stuff.
Well, he's a protagonist in some of the games, so maybe in a future film coming to a theater near you.
I think there should be a Mushroom Kingdom Mushroom Kingdom movie. I'm just saying that. I'm looking at the publicists for Universal, and now I'm looking back at you.